This election day, Suffolk County voters will have an opportunity to vote on a referendum that will shape the future of water quality. Hello, and welcome to episode 23 of What About Water? I'm Jeff Szabo, Chief Executive Officer of the Suffolk County Water Authority, which provides drinking water to 1.2 million Suffolk County residents here in New York. In today's episode, we sit down with Suffolk County Executive Ed Romaine to discuss Proposition Number 2 and what it means for the future of water. We will also talk about his long history of supporting the expansion of public drinking water and what that has meant to him. County Executive, welcome.
Thank you very much. Water is key. Water defines life in many parts of our world, and it's no different for us. The thing is, we don't have reservoirs. Our reservoirs are beneath our feet.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. Let's start by talking about the immediate issue, which is a significant ballot proposal here in Suffolk County this fall, Proposition Number 2. Talk to us about Proposition Number 2, how we got here, and what it'll do for us if it's approved.
Proposition 2 allows us for an eighth of a cent to fund clean water projects. It is crucial. And the money would be split between IA systems, which are an alternative denitrification septic type system, and sewers, which is key. Many communities have been asking for sewers. We believe with that and with the combination of hopefully federal and state funds that we will be able to begin an aggressive program. I'm planning, if this proposition passes, and by the way, it used to be easy when you used to go to vote with the levers because the propositions were up top. You actually have to flip your ballot over and mark it. So if you're going to vote, and everyone should vote on the propositions, but particularly Proposition 2, if you want clean water, flip the ballot over, vote yes on Proposition 2. I am planning, should that proposition take place in the next 3 years, to spend over $1 billion on sewers. And people would say, wow, a lot of money. It's not as much as you think. I know the Mastic area. I used to represent that many, many years ago. And they're doing half of Mastic, the county of Suffolk, with a sewer program. It's $228 million. So when you think about that, and who has asked for sewers? Smithtown, St. James, Sayville, Deer Park, Wheatley Heights, Hampton Bays, Montauk, Southampton.
So there's certainly a lot of interest.
Yes.
And the potential to see what the expansion of sewers does for Suffolk County, what it does for economic development, what it does for redevelopment, and what it does for water quality.
Well, if anyone wants to know what it does for economic development, take a look at the village of Patchogue, because the village of Patchogue was kind of on its way down.
For sure.
In the 90s. They got a sewage treatment plant in there, and all of a sudden, they began to say, wow, okay. So they put some multifamily in there which brought a lot of foot traffic. They put a lot of restaurants and bars and other things that require sewers. And it's flourishing.
It's like night and day. You know, having grown up near Patchogue,
right,
and having been a kid during the 80s, I certainly remember not necessarily wanting to be there during the during the evening. Now it's fantastic. It's bustling with businesses and homes and shopping and all that great stuff. So it's really a jewel of the South Shore, because some people think and don't want Suffolk to become Nassau County, which is, I believe, about 80%, 85% sewered. Yes. Suffolk's never going to be that, right? We're not going to have that many connections. Suffolk is never going to be
that, and we don't have the money for that. What we do have the money for is to put sewers where there already is dense development and a need for that. So, for example, if you talk about St. James, they've already put the pipes along Lake Avenue. That's a commercial line for St. James. Same thing for Smithtown on Main Street. Same thing for Kings Park. So they're looking to put sewers in existing areas that are already developed, that could be further developed, that are the commercial hubs of different communities. Same thing for Hampton Bays. Same thing for Montauk. They're not looking to run it all over Montauk, but down the main drag in Montauk. So sewers have a purpose. they help clean the water. And I've said repeatedly, we're not going to do sewers like they did in the Southwest, or they did for Port Jeff or Stony Brook or a number of others, where we treat the effluent that come in and then we send it out to our bays or the Sound or the ocean. We are going to treat this effluent so much so that we can reposition it back into the aquifer so we can recharge the aquifer so we don't have what Western Nassau is facing with saltwater intrusion. We want to keep our aquifer full, and we're going to do that.
Our position here is, having recharge back into the aquifer is something we support as long as it's brought in by drinking water standards. It's got to be drinking water standards when it's being put back in. So that may be a challenge, but that's the goal. And that certainly is something I think we can all be supportive of, making sure that happens.
So the sewer that I spoke about in Mastic is going to be a tertiary recharge. So it's going to be recharging. We have a field to do that where we recharge, treat the aquifer so effectively that we can recharge it back into the aquifer. And we have other examples of water reuse. I'm a huge fan. I have 10 projects lined up for water reuse, one of which involves the Southwest Sewer. So instead of pumping it a mile out to the ocean, we're going to take some of that effluent and treat it even more so, and then put it on the Bergen Point Golf Course, much like we did in Riverhead at the Indian Island with the Riverhead sewage treatment plant. So then they don't need irrigation or fertilization because that is provided by the effluent that is given. It's treated to a very fine gray water, almost drinkable, but very fine level that merits putting it back by taking care of some of our golf courses.
That was a very successful pilot program at Indian Island County Golf Course. I forget the name of the consultants that did that work there, but they actually came to the Long Island Commission for Aquifer Protection, this group that I started many years ago now, and they gave a presentation on the benefits and the thought about trying to expand that to other.
Tell them to contact me or Charlie Bartha, who is our Public Works Commissioner, because that is the first of many. For example, Port Jefferson. They have a municipal golf course. We'd have to build a pump station because that's above the village, and we'd have to pump it up to their golf course. But we're looking to do all of that. We have like 10 projects. Stony Brook University uses water because they have a cogeneration plant, and they need a great deal of water for that cogeneration plant. These are perfect examples of water reuse. So we just don't pump it, because right now Port Jefferson and Stony Brook pumped out to Port Jeff Harbor.
Back up a little bit. We certainly know how worthy the investment is and the importance of the proposition. Have you determined how it would be implemented? Is the county, your departments, one of your departments would be in charge of the oversight?
Yes.
To manage the projects?
Would in all likelihood be a Public Works. And we have to take a look at that organization because Public Works has 13 subdivisions, more subdivisions than any other Public Works department in the state of New York. We're looking to do that. One of the things I just did is release the budget. And as I said I would do, we stayed within the tax cap. But we did raise it a little bit, the property tax. But we stayed within the tax cap, which unfortunately many of the towns will not be able to do this year because of the increase in pension and medical costs. But the one thing that we wanted to do is not touch our reserves. And the county has a great deal of reserves. And the reason we wanted to do that is we wanted to signal to the rating agencies that we're financially stable. And we immediately got a response. Fitch upgraded us to A. And I have said before I leave, this county will be AAA. And the reason that I wanted it this year is because should this proposition pass, a lot of the work that's going to be done is going to be bonded out against future revenue. And the lower our bond cost, the more we can get done. And that's why I didn't touch the reserves and we raised taxes just a little bit. All of the things that the Wall Street rating agencies love to see. You know what that's about.
Very much so. I still brag about it. And sometimes I feel like I don't do a good job relaying that to our customers. We have some of the highest bond ratings in the state at the Water Authority here. And I guess about maybe 10 or 12 years ago, we had an upgrade. and we've been able to maintain that upgrade. And when I try to tell our customers, that saves you money. That means we don't have to raise rates as much when we do go out to bond for projects and things like that. And I'm very proud of it. And for you to get an upgrade, that's fantastic.
We anticipate going to bond for sewers against future revenues would allow us to start work sooner than later and really have an impact on water quality in this county. And when you have 70% of the county, which we do, on cesspools or septic systems, it's a problem. I started my career a long time ago in 1980. I left teaching after 12 years and started as the town of Brookhaven's community development director. And what we did, we try to deal with community problems, but the biggest community problem in the Massac Shirley, Massac Beach area was water quality, which we had in other communities as well. And we said, let's use community development funds. And we did. And the great thing about it, that's why I always want to do the contracts for the water authority. Because if we do a contract with the water authority and we do hookups, you get 75 foot of free main. And in that area where they were very populous and a lot of small lots, we could essentially do most of this for free if we covered the hookups. And we did. And there wasn't really, other than the Shirley Water Company, which was owned by Anthony Prudenti at the time, if you remember him. I know his daughter.
Yeah, sure.
It was amazing because other than that, we had to do that whole peninsula. And there's about 50,000 people that live south of Montauk Highway.
You've always been innovative. You've always been a big supporter of bringing public water to people who need it. And I know through my 25 years in county and state government, and now for the last 15 here at the Water Authority, you've always been an ally and an advocate and a supporter. And we want to really thank you for that because not everyone always is. You've been able to get funding for important projects. You've been able to work with us cooperatively, and you've been able to do what's right, which is to reduce the health risks that people have and get rid of the emerging contaminants, get off private wells, get people tested, and bring public water. So thank you for that.
We have two projects now. We have the one in Peconic Lake Estates. It's about 160 homes, and they have PFAS in their water. We don't know where it's coming from, but that's for another day. For today, let's address the problem. And the Water Authority and the town, the county, the town isn't contributing. They've used up all the ARPA funds. We're using the last of our ARPA funds for that project and for one off Old Country Road in the West Hampton area from PFAS that is coming from a former, I guess it's current station that the town of Southampton runs, and from the county Beaumark facility. So we're going to give those people public water so that they're safe.
We've talked a little bit about the benefits of Prop 2, areas that may be targeted for sewering. Some of the other funds that will be generated by this prop will go to replace outdated septic systems and cesspools. That's also a major initiative under the proposal.
Absolutely. So not every area is suitable for sewers. If it's densely populated, yes. If it's not, and you're on a septic system or cesspool, then you can go to an IA system, which is an alternative system, a little bit more expensive. And there are monies, state and county monies, to help you purchase that. And you put that in, and it's required almost a yearly maintenance, but it denitrifies so much better than a cesspool or septic. So you are really helping water quality.
The other thing that's fantastic, I think, and sort of very important to the approval of this Prop 2 is the coalition that's been built. This is very important. You've been a coalition builder your entire professional career. Talk a little bit about the different folks who have been involved in this and the different segments that they represent coming together for this initiative.
A whole host of people. First of all, people in business and industry know that sewers can help them economically because they can do things that the health department now would not allow them to do if they didn't have sewers. Then you have your environmentalists who are very concerned, like Citizens for the Environment or New York State League of Conservation Voters, These are people that even the Pine Barren Society, Dick Camper, these are people that are concerned about the future of the environment for the island. So they're supporting it. Business interests are supporting it because they see the possibility in areas now where maybe they can do a restaurant where now they can't, or some other industry that requires sewers, which they can't do now. So you have the business community, you have environmentalists, you have citizens, ordinary citizens and civic associations knowing that it's better. So it is a great coalition. I think we're doing very well. I think Proposition 2 should pass by a substantial margin, and we're prepared to go to bond using that revenue, as slight as it is, to get started on rebuilding the infrastructure that should have been built years ago.
Let me ask you this. We have let's take our crystal ball out here. Let's say the prop is approved, your county executive, you bond for money to move projects forward, the administrative part is settled. Let's look at Suffolk County 20 years from now. Where do you see the county being?
I see the county very differently than that many of our communities defined by their downtowns, and many of these downtowns have been suffering. Sewers will give them an economic shot in the arm. You're not going to see much differences, except you're going to see a lot of infill industries and businesses in these downtown areas. They're going to be strengthened by this because they now can operate in areas that they cannot operate and undertake operations that they haven't been able to do. So yes, I see it very differently.
And you see a county and an aquifer that's preserved and
Yes.
that has very high quality water.
We already have the city of New York knocking on our door, asking if they can tap into our water. We already see Western Nassau. We only have to look west, and we can see saltwater intrusion in their aquifer. And we already see the problems that we have with some of the chemicals in our society because you run well fields that you have to close now or blend because of the problems. We want a cleaner aquifer. We want and that's why water recharge is another, besides sewers, I'm very interested in water recharge and water reuse for our aquifers. So these are all key things. I don't have forever. First of all, I'm old. I'm probably the oldest county executive around. I'm the ninth one, and I'm probably the oldest. So I don't have forever, and I have about 3 years and 3 months on my term left. So I have to move as quickly as I possibly can. I don't have time for a lot of the things that usually bog government down. And I'm constantly running around trying to get things moving.
Well, that's, after your career, if you look at your career from an educator, somebody who studies history, somebody who knows county history very well, you served in the legislature, you served as a town supervisor, you served as county clerk, county executive, all these different roles. I think the thing that defines you is your commitment to public service. And I think over the years, you and I have bonded over our commitment to public service. And I love talking to you because I always get a little bit of a history lesson that I also very much appreciate. But when you look at the different roles that you've had, legislator, administrator, executive, which is your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
It's hard to say I have a favorite. They each had different aspects, but the job I enjoyed the most was the second time I was in the legislature. The first time I represented southeastern Suffolk County, so from Bellport to Eastport and North Decorum. The second time I was in the legislature was 16 years between. I represented all of Eastern Brookhaven from Shoreham to Center Moriches, as well as Riverhead, Southold, and Shelter Island. I enjoyed that job a great deal. It was the largest legislative district, and if I left my house, it would take me about an hour and 15 minutes to get to Shelter Island, taking the ferry. But it was great. I loved the East End. I'm probably the first county executive with not only a West End view, but an East End view of this county.
Let's remind folks again, this November, there's an important ballot initiative, Prop 2.
Proposition 2, the future of the county, the future of our drinking water depends on Proposition 2 passing. I am a huge supporter of it. I intend to vote for it. I'm working with people who are working to make sure it passes, and I will use that money wisely and efficiently. My only sadness is I won't be around long enough to see the results, but I'll be there at the beginning, and I will tell you we will get it started, and we will move swiftly to install sewers in areas that are needed. Smithtown, St. James, Patchogue is looking to do an expansion. Mastic Beach, which I'm so frustrated at the last administration because they built the sewage treatment plant for Mastic, but the pipe's too small, so I can't connect it to Mastic Beach. I have to build another sewage treatment plant, but I have the land to do it. The town is going to give me land, the town of Brookhaven, and we're going to build a sewage treatment plant for Mastic Beach. I want to take a look at Hampton Bays. I want to take a look at Southampton. I want to take a look at Montauk and the other communities along the way. And definitely first on my list is Deer Park, because Deer Park is in the Southwest Sewer District. They're being taxed, but they don't have sewers. So for 40 some odd years, they've been paying the tax, but they don't have the sewers. And Wheatley Heights, same situation. So those are two communities that if I had to say had to go first. They've been waiting all this time. They've been paying taxes and not getting the sewers.
Great point. What do you say to people, like I live in Babylon Village. I have the Southwest Sewer District. I have sewers. I'm supporting, Prop 2 for sure, because I see the entire picture and the benefits it provides the county. But what do you say to somebody who lives in an existing sewer district? What is there incentive for them to vote for this prop?
There is. The incentive is the future of this island. We should all be focused on the future. People who vote for Proposition 2 are going to carry the future with them when they go into that ballot box and they cast their vote, because they're saying they want a Suffolk with clean water. They want to make sure that wastewater doesn't define us. They want to make sure that things are changed. And by the way, while the county runs 26 sewer districts, not anymore. It's all combined into one. That was done a few days ago. It went into effect. So now it's one sewer district for the county. And that's going to simplify administration and rates. Some rates will go up a little bit, some will go down a little bit, but we'll have one rate for all sewers.
County Executive Ed Romaine, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you, and God bless you in the work you do, because I'm about to lift the glass of water that you just gave me, and this is probably the best beverage we can drink for our health. So to the great Suffolk County Water Authority and the water they produce to keep us safe, healthy, and not thirsty.
What About Water is produced by Jeff Szabo, Theodore Aponte, and Dan Dubois. If you enjoyed What About Water, be sure to rate us and to leave a review. Help spread the word by telling a friend and by following the Suffolk County Water Authority on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm Jeff Szabo.